Problem 6, our second calculus problem. So this one's pretty straightforward. Let the integral of this be 1/2, where a is between pi and 2 pi. Find the value of a. So remember, anytime we have this, just integrate this normally. So if you have a variable with its own limits, don't worry about it. Just integrate like you normally would. So this is a little tough. It's a reverse chain rule problem, or a U sub, but in this case, I just did a reverse chain rule. So remember, the way you integrate reverse chain rule, it's kind of like chain rule. You integrate the outside, so you get a capital F. You leave the inside alone, and then you divide by derivative of the inside. Right? In chain rule, you multiply, but in integral, we divide by it. So integral of cosine, click your former sheet. It's just sine, positive. Leave the 2x alone, and then divide by derivative of the inside, 1/2. And again, since there's limits, we'll go from the bottom limit to the top limit. Equals 1/2. And now we just gotta simplify this. Top minus bottom. So sine of 2a times 1/2 minus sine of 2 pi times 1/2. All that equals 1/2. So next I gotta figure out what sine of 2 pi is. And again, most of the questions on IB, if it's a trig question, they're gonna ask you that it's a unit circle question. This is no different. So at the very least, you have to know your unit circle. So at 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. This is 1, 0. It's like a normal XY chart. You go up, 0, 1. You go to the left, -1, 0. You go down, 0, -1. Now the next step, right, you have to know which one's which. Sine E, sine's the Y, cosine's the X. So at 2 pi, I need the Y value, 0. 0 times anything is 0, so I should just end up getting this. Sine of 2a times 1/2 equals 1/2. So I just got to solve this guy. So we're going to divide both sides. Let's multiply both sides by 2, get rid of the 1/2s, or divide by 1/2, whichever you want to do. These will cancel, and these cancel. And you get sine of 2a equals 1. Now I gotta solve this, and this is where it gets a little tricky. So the way you normally solve this is you ignore this, and you just solve sine of whatever, we'll put a u there, equals 1. So you just solve that. That's another unit circle question, like we drew up here. Where does sine equal 1 at? So now sine equals 1, if you look at all your values here, at 2 pi. So that's where sine equals 1, that's where the y value equals 1. So we have 2a equals pi over 2. Now there's one issue with this. That's great if you're just solving for one problem, just solving one answer. If you already notice, though, look at my domain. My a has to be between pi and 2 pi. This is going to be less than 2 pi. So what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to do this when we solve a trig question. Since it goes on forever, it's like it never ends. You keep on going around in circles. You go plus 2 pi k. Because since you go around in circles forever, you're supposed to put like a coterminal angle 2 pi, and then whatever value you need, k. Again, it's a little weird. We don't do that much, but it is the thing you're supposed to do. So then now what I do is I divide everything by 2, or multiply everything by 1/2. So here I get a. 1/2 times pi over 2 is pi over 4, plus 1/2 times 2 is just pi k. So normally I'd be like, okay, your answer is pi over 4. You're done. I wouldn't even do this part. But if you look at your domain, at pi over 4 is before pi over 2, so it's not going to fit that. I got to be in the bottom half. That's where this guy comes in. So k could be any number you want. It could be 0, any whole number you want, natural number. And so 0 doesn't work, so let's try 1. Pi over 4 plus pi times 1. Common denominator, 4 over 4. And I get 5 pi over 4. And that does fill the domain. 5 pi over 4 will be over here, which fits the domain. So again, that part's a little tricky. Getting to this part would get you most of the points. I think you would get 5 out of the 7. But to get the full 7, you need to solve for the correct domain. So there's that one.